day 2 of the Expo 2020 Dubai. Almost 200 nations present and showcasing what they have to offer on this global stage. The theme is Connecting Minds, Creating the Future, and it's the opening ceremony for South Africa's participation at the Expo in Dubai. Our anchor Ayanda Nyathi is live for us there. Ayanda, very good morning to you. It's day 2 and it's also the opening ceremony for South Africa's participation at the Expo. And I suppose it speaks to the importance and significance of this occasion.
Spot on. In fact, we are in an increasingly globalized world. Essentially, that means that we're now connected now more than ever, at least as societies across the globe. Good morning to you, Mpo. It's about 8:30 in Dubai, and I have to keep giving you a temperature check as well. 28 degrees at the moment, but believe it or not, it's cooler than it's ever been since I've been here. But you're absolutely right. It's a big day for Team South Africa today. We are launching our participation officially. That will happen in a couple of hours' time. But as you can see, we're in the South African Pavilion. What does that mean? Essentially, each country that's present here has a pavilion, if you like, a department, a building that is given to them to showcase what they've got to offer to the world. As you rightly mentioned, almost 200 nations that are present here today. South Africa, one of them. And it comes as no surprise that most prominent in our pavilion is the Springboks, our greatest export in the world of sport in some respects. And I know Bushle is expecting me to say more, but I'll leave that to him. I'm going to walk and show you a bit more of the pavilion as well, as I also try to explain to you the importance of being here. Team South Africa is located at what is known as the Opportunity District. There are 3 districts here at the Durban Expo. It's the Sustainability District, the Mobility District, and the Opportunity District. And each country is placed in one of these districts according to what they're hoping to get out of being part of this global event. Team South Africa itself mentioning, when I spoke to the Deputy Director General of the Arts and Culture Department just yesterday, that they're hoping that our involvement here will result in opportunities being created across various sectors, not only for fine artists, musicians who are also here, but also for the couple of SMMEs that government has decided to bring on to enable them to get access to audiences, if you like, to have the audience of the world in some respects, so that they too can grow their businesses in meaningful ways. Hopefully that will result in our economy growing and more jobs being created, which is a crisis that we know needs desperate solutions in South Africa. Behind me is more of the pavilion that I have no doubt you'll be able to see throughout the course of today. But really, we're counting down the hours as Team South Africa to that massive launch where we officially announce our presence, for lack of a better term.
And what are some of the expectations at this launch as the big announcement is made?
Yeah, so the expectations by and large is that we'll be able to walk out here with connections that we didn't have before coming. I mean, you can imagine a context where influential people from all corners of society are converging. You're hoping that you're able to, what I call peacock. I'm not sure if you know of the peacock effect. It's essentially opening up your feathers and dazzling audiences, which is by and large what everybody is here is hoping will happen. But outside of just that, it's about putting a footprint on a world that is still grappling with a global health crisis. COVID-19 definitely still a big feature. It's literally affecting ways through which operations take place where we're at. But this is kind of the first Expo, if you think about it, the first global event, actually, if you think about it, that's taken place during COVID-19. And interestingly, organizers are saying that they're hoping to attract about 25 million visitors. That would essentially make it the biggest world event during a pandemic. And so you can imagine ambitions are quite high at this stage. And it's in that context, really, that South Africa is also located. This awakening of the world to itself during a global health crisis that hopefully results in some kind of benefits as well in the form of connections that wouldn't have been made if we had all stayed in lockdown in our respective countries.
As you speak about connections, Ayanda, you've been in conversation with a number of people since your arrival there in Dubai. You've been speaking to the UAE ambassador to South Africa. You even spoke to Master KG. As you have these conversations and interactions with a number of people, what sense of optimism are you getting from them when it comes to economic ties and their own personal development on a larger scale?
The optimism is incredibly high, Paul. I mean, at some stage, I'd actually go as far as to say that this time last year, this kind of event would have been completely unthinkable. The world was effectively in lockdown. Countries in the global south and the global north grappling really with this invisible enemy. And now we're finally getting a sense of what living during COVID-19 as a connected world actually looks like. The ambassador to South Africa, the South African ambassador to the UAE, I beg your pardon, that you've just mentioned, Mr. Saad Kachalia, saying that they are confident that ties, one, between the UAE and South Africa are in a good place, but that this kind of involvement will only send us in the right direction, especially in a context where, again, we're seeing the emergence of leaders in some quarters of society that drive the wedge of division. What the Expo 2020 in Dubai is hoping to do is to do away with that kind of feeling in the world, that kind of rhetoric in some respects, by bringing people closer together. You mentioned Master KG. He's among the people for whom the opening up of the world is already having an impact on his career. We were speaking off air about how he's been to Paris and is going to some other place after this. So you're really getting a sense that those artists who do have the opportunities and are plugged in are already taking advantage of the opportunities of things like world events currently taking place. So once again, in some respects, it almost feels like this Expo is providing the blueprint of how the world can get back to what it used to be while still dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. But I also just want to place very quickly for you the scale of this Expo. I mean, first of all, Dubai, as you know, is literally a city built in the desert. The Expo itself is a city within that city. And so you can imagine the money that has been spent here. I mean, I've been reading up, it's put at about $7 billion US. Quick exchange rate places that at, in the hundreds of billions of rands in some respects. It's taken months to get here. Infrastructure that I'm told is going to be used by this community post the Expo itself. That's how much of a staying power an Expo like this has and the kind of impact it's actually able to make in communities that interact with it.
Very well. Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now. A busy one, and of course, really just gauging the scale and the significance of the Expo 2020 Dubai. Newzroom Afrika anchor Ayanda Nyathi there, of course, live from the event, giving us a breakdown of some of the expectations today and, of course, the overall impact and what South Africa is hoping to get out of it.